The reason I don't want to do 20, 30 homes a year is because now you're relying on other people, because there's no way I can do all that. There's no way I can do the estimating. There's no way, I can manage out in the field with that many projects. I don't want to take on more than what I'm capable of doing. Depends on the projects, but 3 or 4 is the sweet spot.
Do you have any challenges, failures, or stories that you've had since you've started developing this business that you would like to share with our listeners?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs, growing 1% everyday podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs podcast, where we discuss how to grow 1% every day in both business and itself. Today, we have Chris Brecht, the owner of Design Build Custom Homes located in Arizona, a company that's been building elegant custom homes with integrity since 1995. He's here to talk about his journey as an entrepreneur and how he developed a business based around his deep understanding of construction principles, materials, and innovative design solutions that only comes from years of hands-on experience. Thank you, Chris, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited. I talked to a lot of home improvement business owners, and there's a vast disparity between one home improvement business owner and the other. And for you to have the longevity that you have, you must have a really good understanding of not only how to build custom homes, but also to how to take care of your customers. Can you give me a little background of how the company started, why you decided to go down this path of being an entrepreneur, and what the company looks like today?
Yeah. I think the whole reason it got started is because I was acting as I started off as a superintendent, then a project manager. And when I was a project manager, I was working hands-on directly with the clients, in the design phase, and we'd lay out new lighting, plans for them, or, raised stems for concrete, press showers and stuff like that. And what was happening is I was running 9 homes and had superintendents on them, and the stuff wasn't getting implemented out in the field. So now I'm also going out into the field doing this stuff because, the outcome needs to be, the dream home. So, I was spending so much time doing my job and somebody else's job. I figured I might as well just go out on my own, and that way I can do a good job. I wanted to stay small and not have a lot, and then I could give every client the attention that they need and deserve.
Super powerful. I mean, a lot of us entrepreneurs and business owners listening to this right now, you can resonate with that story. We're in a job, we're in a position where we're helping people in the world, but at the end of the day, we realized we could do it a little bit better, or we just didn't want to deal with some of the walls and the restrictions that are put upon us so that we can help the customer even further. And that's awesome. And it started in 1995. You broke off and started your own business. Is that accurate?
Well, I started my own business in 97. I was doing construction for people. I started in 1995 doing construction. Actually, probably 1980 something. I was working during the summers as a plumber. So, and then after I got out of the Marine Corps, I decided to go back and start doing some plumbing. But hard part at that point was when I was doing plumbing in high school, I was working for a small shop. Well, then they threw me into a big commercial development, and guess who gets to drill all the holes? So didn't like that. I worked there for about a year, and then I got stolen from another company that saw how hard I was working, and I worked with them for about a year, and then I was doing some side work just to try to get more money, and I just decided that I could go out on my own. So I started on my own in 1997.
Man, almost 20 years in business. That's almost 30 years in business. Yes. My math's a little off. That's absolutely incredible. And for the younger generation, or the individuals that are working at 95 right now that want to be an entrepreneur, note what he just said. That is a common factor around all people that become an entrepreneur. They were working a job and outworking the people around them and got recognition for it. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard a story of the start of an entrepreneur being that the people around them weren't working as hard, or they weren't quite as intelligent, or didn't see the service the same way. But every single person that decided to be an entrepreneur wanted to go above and beyond. So talk to me a little bit, Chris, about, launching a business is complicated. It's difficult, especially when you're in the late 90s, when you do not have Google to turn to have every single answer in the world to give you clarity on where to find your next customer, what's other people doing, so on and so forth. Talk to me about the launch of that business, kind of how you got it started, and then the process of getting to where it is today.
So like I was saying earlier, when I was doing side work, I had a buddy that was I started off as a framer. As a plumber. and I had a buddy that was a framer. So we got the opportunity to do some side work, and I would work with him, learning his trade, doing that stuff. And can I stop real quick? I forgot where I was going. So sorry about that. My wrist is ringing. Apologize. Okay,
it's all good.
You want me to start over or keep going?
Yeah, no, I can give you the question again. It's all good. Starting your business in 1997, you didn't have all the clarity that we have today as an entrepreneur, right? In building a business, you can't turn to Google to find all the answers. So tell me how that start of the business actually happened, and then how the developmental steps got to where you are today.
It started off with just wanting to have more. And what I mean by that is, if you want the nicer things in life, you've got to work harder for them. So I wanted to have nice things. I bought my first house when I was 21 years old. So I got the opportunity to work with a buddy of mine, and we were doing side work for, about 2 years before I started my own business. And I thought, we can just start our own company, So I started chatting with him about starting a company together. And it was funny because I'm like, what happens if on a Friday night, on a Friday afternoon, we told them we'd be done, but we're not going to get out of there till 8. And he's like, well, we'll just do it on Monday. I'm like, well, I'll open the company by myself. So I did that for a lot of years. It started off kind of smaller and then got big additions and then eventually into custom homes. But I think when I first started, I was in Washington State. I didn't do it the correct way. And what I mean by that is because we did have the framing background and other backgrounds, we ended up doing a majority of the work. So we were framing the houses, we were doing the siding, setting the windows, putting the trim on. And the problem with that is it's very hard, and I learned this the hard way, it's very hard to keep everybody happy and manage all these jobs if you're on site working hands-on every day. So I decided to, not have employees anymore and hire great subs and they would help me build my business. And throughout the years, that's exactly what we've done. I've had great subs, and I was able to jump from project to project and spend several hours a day on each project, making sure that everything was running smoothly.
Oh, absolutely love that. I'd love to dive into that topic a little bit because I believe there's a lot of home improvement businesses out there that think they can do it very simply. Hey, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to generate the leads. I'm going to hire subs. They'll do all the work for you. Can you talk to me about the process of finding great subs? Do you have a qualification process? Do you go through a system to ensure that the quality that you're looking for? What does it look like to actually hire great subcontractors?
Well, unfortunately, it's more of a process of working with them. Because everybody's going to tell you that they do a fantastic job, how good they are. I've been to projects where when I'm trying to interview new subcontractors because they send me stuff, the easiest way is to kind of actually ask for some references so I can talk to the people that they've worked for and go see some of their work. So like if I get a new stucco guy to put stucco on, I'm going to actually go see several of his projects because I want to see the quality that he brings to the table. Unfortunately, like I was saying earlier, it's just years of working in the same area with the trade base and weeding out the ones that aren't up to my standard.
In the marketing world, we call them KPIs, key performance indicators, aka I have a standard and a structure that I'm going to hold myself and my business to, and we have to hit that standard every time. All business owners, especially in the home improvement field, got to make sure that you understand what your quality of your business is going to represent. So that way, and as Chris said here, the best way to do it is to train and actually implement your ideas into the subcontractors that you're bringing on. Be there, hold their hands. Don't just pass off the work. Remember, when you put your name on a business, it doesn't matter if the subcontractor did the work, an employee did the work, or you did the work. At the end of the day, you are going to be the one that gets qualified for the success or failure of that actual job. Super powerful, Chris. I think that's a great golden nugget for people to understand, especially in the home improvement industry, of that you got to hold the hands of your employees, of your subcontractors, of the people that you're delegating to get the work done. Let me talk to you a little bit about how the market has evolved a little bit, right? So I was in Florida for a decade. I saw a lot of fly-by-night home improvement businesses, especially after every hurricane. And I could see the vast difference between a home improvement business that was coming in to make fast revenue and be in and out, and one that was there for the long haul. Can you talk to a little bit about what is needed to have a company for almost 30 years and how you keep that consistent structure of developing the company and staying within your morals, your guidelines, and your expectations?
You're breaking up pretty bad. I didn't hear the question.
Sorry, and they'll edit this part out. This, for some reason, Riverside quality like diminishes, but then when the recording's done, it's amazing. So, also, it's okay. All good. To go back to the question, I want to talk about the evolution of kind of your business and how it's lasted the test of time, right? Being almost in for 30 years, most businesses fail within the first 5 years in business. It's about an 89% failure rate. To make sure that your business stayed alive and you developed and you continue to grow over these last almost 30 years, can you talk to us a little bit about that process and maybe how your mindset for business has changed and what you've had to do over the last 30 years to keep it where it is today?
Yeah, I mean, it's changed for me based off of the projects that I get and what I started with. So the big thing is to not try to get in over your head, because that'll kill it right there. You go into something and you don't know what you're doing and you're just trying to get the job and then you fail at it. I think we've all done that before, but like I said, I've started off rather small, doing smaller things, and then eventually growing and growing. And I've been doing nothing but high-end custom since 2016. But I feel like I was a young kid. I thought I knew everything. I'm 27 years old. You can't tell me I can work harder than you. I can work faster. Blah blah blah. Well, there's a lot that comes with knowledge over the time. The way I've learned a lot of things is by making mistakes, but you stand by your mistakes and you own your mistakes. And, over the years, just with being able to be I don't want to sound arrogant, sorry, being educated and whatnot, and having a lot of knowledge, it's actually helped me significantly out in the field with my subcontractors. I'll have a subcontractor come up to me and he goes, I can't do this or this because of this. And, it's a plumbing thing, let's say. I'm like, well, you can do this, this, and this, right? He's like, yeah, it just doesn't want to do it because it's not the easy way. So just with over time, you learn stuff and then you start growing and growing based off of that versus diving into it is probably the best way I can say for somebody if they're wanting to start it.
Love that. Great advice. And honestly, I think the biggest thing there is being a man of your word and being honest and open with failures, right? Yes. As entrepreneurs, as human beings, we're going to mess up. We're going to mess up no matter what. It's going to happen. But we have to make sure that the only way we can grow for that is by accepting the fact that we made an error and then moving past it and trying to improve a little bit every single day. Let's talk a little bit about what the business looks like today. How big is this? How many subcontractors do you have? How many projects are you working on? What's really the goal? If you want to speak revenue, would love to hear it. But the goal for 2025, and how do you look at like when you're moving into 2026?
So currently, we just finished a nice large custom and a casita. We've got two more massive customs. One of them's 10,000 square feet under roof, 16,000 livable. I like to do more of the bigger projects. We typically will only take on about 3 or 4 jobs. That's it, a year. So the reason for that is I want to be able to go to each job site every day. I want to be able to give the clients the attention they need and deserve. And if I'm not out on the job site every day, the stuff falls through the cracks or a mistake happens, which mistakes are always going to happen. But the good thing about our company is, what I've seen is, and other businesses, is you have somebody that does the estimating. Then you have a project manager. Then you have a superintendent. Even sometimes you have somebody that starts off in sales. So you may have 4 different people. With our company, I'm the project manager and the superintendent. I do have a superintendent too that helps me out, but again, I'm on the job site every day. And the reason that it's so important for me to try to get with homeowners at the very beginning of the project is because that allows us to kind of help put in some of our knowledge over time. So when they're drawing the plans up and I can go, well, maybe we move this wall here, we do this or whatnot. That's fun for me. It seems like a lot of companies here in Arizona, they really try not to have change. And I think the reason being for that is because, like I said, it's already went through 3 people. Now it goes to the superintendent, and it's going to get lost in translation. So they really don't like it. I personally, I try to build every house like it's mine. It sounds weird, but I love doing what I do, and I love change. I mean, if possible, make the change before the framers frame it or before the electricians wire it. But that is the key part for us, is knowing and understanding. And by me doing some of the rules that I do, it allows us to do that.
Oh, it's super powerful too. I mean, for anybody in the Arizona area looking for a signature home, we couldn't ask for anything more. One, someone to be so animated and love what they do and their work. And then to be able to say, I do like change. You want it fully custom? You want adjustments? We're understandable. Yeah, I hope they don't rip the whole floor plan down after you've already framed and wired the whole thing out, right?
Well,
but, at the end of the day, if you love what you do, you kind of enjoy the process of changing. It sounds like, Chris, you're focused more on the happiness of the customer than the P&Ls at the end of the year. But I want to go back to a point here. I mean, something that's definitely a topic of conversation for a lot of home improvement business owners is, where do I want the business to go, right? Some people tell me they want a national based brand where they're doing, say, 20 custom home builds all across the US throughout the year. You were very specific. We're looking for 2 to 4 custom builds through a year. That's it. That's all I really want to focus on. Can you talk to me through that decision-making process that you went through when you're like, I know that I want to only be X big. I want to do the best work I possibly can and be focused on this system. Did you ever have aspirations to grow to doing 20, 30 homes a year? Talk to me about that mindset.
No, and the reason I don't want to do 20, 30 homes a year is because now you're relying on other people. And because there's no way I can do all that. There's no way I can do the estimating. There's no way, I can manage out in the field with that many projects. So I don't want to take on more than what I'm capable of doing, so it depends on the projects. But like I said, 3 or 4 is the sweet spot to be able to build. And that allows me, especially on these bigger homes, to give it the attention. I mean, it's easy to burn out, repetition, track homes and just they're flipped or they're the exact same models. But with customs, it's full on custom. So there's details all over that you have to make sure that you're ahead of.
Well, Chris, let me ask you this. How many years have you had that mindset? Since the very beginning, since I'm assuming like the early 2000s?
Yes.
Are you happy? Are you happy with the business or happy where you're currently at?
I'm ecstatic. Yes.
Love that.
I love it. And the good thing is I'm also kind of interviewing clients as well. I don't just take on a project. The key thing for me is to be happy, and I want my clients to be happy. And if your clients are happy, then they're telling their friends how good you are. I think the key thing with a lot of clients is communication. Sometimes you got to tell them stuff that they don't want to hear. But, like the concrete took an extra 3 days, so I lost the framers for a week. Just constant communication with homeowners is what I've realized that is very good, in business, for a business model. Also, another reason is I personally believe everything that you do in life reflects who you are. So if I've got my name on something, I want to make sure I can make it the best I can, instead of having someone else that doesn't have as much stake in the business, that's out there running as a superintendent, that's, wants to get home and he's taking shortcuts.
I really want to unpack this point for the entrepreneurs and business owners listening right now. He's happy. How powerful is that, right? I mean, I talk to business owners every single day. I talked to one just before this call where their aspiration was to have a chimney cleaning company that is nationwide. They're starting off in Texas and they want to go nationwide. And the development of that is monumental. And that's his vision. That's his dream. But as Alex Hormozi says, to grow is to encounter pain and to accept pain. It is a painful process to continue to push and grow. And as you said, if you would do 20 custom home builds a year, you would have a bunch of employees that'd be doing the work for you. You wouldn't be able to monitor all of the service. There would be immense amount of errors compared to what you have today. And those errors are pain, either emotional, financial, potentially physical, right? They're a pain point that you have to go through in the scale of growth. But all of us as entrepreneurs, I truly believe, and Chris, tell me if you feel differently, we start this because we want freedom.
Yes.
We want to chase happiness. We want freedom. We want the ability to say, I am happy. I get to live my life the way I want to live my life, and I get to help people the way I want to help my people. And that's what Chris is doing every day. And there is a decision that needs to be made in all entrepreneurs and business owners of what is the life that you want to live. And that should be the first step, right? The first step is what is the life that I want to live? And then how can I help the world? How can I bring value into this world so that I get to live the life that I want to live? And I think Chris you're an incredible example of that. Seriously. I want to ask, because I've been seeing a lot of videos recently, robots building houses. I've seen a lot of AI generated designs and stuff like that. Where do you see the construction industry going in, say, the next 1 to 3 years? And is your company evolving with that process?
We're always keeping up on the new trends, solar lighting packages, audio design, all that good stuff. As far as AI, I think over the next three years, I was just watching something on the news a little while ago that were saying that a lot of kids are now not going to college and they're going to go back into the trades because they could be out of a job in 1 to 5 years. So they're going to spend all this money in college. So the hardest part is you've got all these older contractors that are getting out, and you don't have people replacing them. And when you do have somebody replacing them, they don't really have a great background. They may have they're either just a plumber or just a framer or just an electrician. So I'd rather take somebody that starts in the trades and have them go through a trade school, then have them come to me, and then have, the ability to train with me and to teach them up.
Yeah, it's super powerful. And I completely agree. I mean, I think, honestly, the world of AI is going to take away a lot of the lower end jobs that college was actually pushing you to get through. I mean, you can go and graduate college for a full design degree and understand how to do graphic design. Well, AI can almost do 95% of that work now. And your whole college degree was just thrown out the window because Sam Altman wanted to make sure they can make pictures within ChatGPT, right? So it's crazy, the development, but I think that's huge. And I love the fact that you want to help develop the youth in the right way that brings what I would say brings actual value into the world, right? There's 3 things that we need to survive. We need food, we need water, and we need shelter. And you build the shelter, right? So making sure that we understand that these kids coming up, they need to understand how to bring value in the world. And I think you have a huge value point. And I want to shift a little bit and make sure that we give some advice to the upcoming entrepreneurs, the upcoming business owners, the upcoming people that want to get in the crafts. Do you have any, say, challenges, failures, or stories that you've had since you've started developing this business that you would like to share with our listeners of something that taught you a little bit about business, a little bit about yourself, and made you do business a little bit different?
Yeah. Like I previously said about having employees and doing the work myself. I think the biggest, I don't know if it's a failure or whatnot, but I was running, I think, 4 projects at the time. I was doing 1 commercial and a couple residential, and every single homeowner loved me. They were all very happy and whatnot. Well, I lost 7 employees in 1 month. So I had 3 guys go to the union, and won't get into the rest. But what that made me realize is now I'm having to do all the work in their place. So I had my wife. We were at the commercial thing, the commercial building, because you can work anytime you want. So we'd get there at 2:00 in the morning, and we were doing steel stud work. And I was having her hand me steel studs, and we were going up in a scissor lift 25 feet up in the air, and then I would leave there and I'd hit a job, and then I'd hit another job, and I couldn't really manage the way that I was before with having the people working there. So to me, that was the big, hey, I can't keep going like this. And that's when I changed, and I decided that I would find qualified people to help me out, but then that would allow me to manage. And if there was mistakes happening or whatnot, then I could fix them. Sorry.
Yeah. Super powerful. We had just had the same thing. I had the reverse thing happen to me. I just hired a bunch of new staff members in and had a VC firm just randomly drop out in a morning email and just disappear. And it's the same problem. Right now, I have a huge expense within the company that I don't have the revenue coming in at the same time. And people don't understand. I always talk about this analogy of the pencil factory. There's an old video I used to watch of like, hey, what is more important, the person that makes the pencil, or the person that built the factory for the pencil? And I don't think a lot of common day consumers understand the value of an entrepreneur. And if you guys don't, if you're an employee listening to this right now and you think the employees are more important than the business owners, I recommend you go read Atlas Shrugged. Atlas Shrugged is a great book that tells you the concept of what would happen if all business owners would just walk away from their companies today and what the world would look like. It's a scary place because at the end of the day, there's leaders and there's followers, and the business owners are the leaders that put the system together. And I think that just as you said, making sure that you have a business that is structured in place where you can truly lead, where things like employees can't disturb the process, things like customers can't disturb the process, that you can constantly go forward towards a goal is very, very important. And as you can tell, all the listeners, you can tell from his animation, his excitement, and him talking about his business, he loves what he's doing. No brick wall or no broken stud's going to slow him down from being able to actually help people build the custom home they're looking for. Chris, I have one last question for you, and then I'll let you go. And this is my favorite question. It's a personal question, less business, more on you. How do you find your Kaizen? Kaizen is a Japanese business philosophy that means 1% improvement every single day, or taking small steps towards a larger goal. What do you do in your daily life to ensure that you're constantly motivated every day to work in your job, that you're excited to meet with your clients, that you're pushing your business forward and your personal life forward every single day?
That's a good question. I don't really know the answer to that. And the reason being is I try to do the best I can every day. And, perfect example, we're just sitting down with some clients and, we're doing a cabinet meeting, and one bathroom ended up having a vanity that was only 2 feet wide, but they had, plenty of storage, and there was a coat closet in right on the other side of a walk-in. So I'm like, let's just shift everything over and get rid of that closet. Now you have a 4-foot vanity for your kid's bathroom. So I think for me, just to try to get better, is just diving into the plans. And one thing that I do want to get better at, and I'm trying to learn that stuff more, is into solar and lighting packages and stuff like that. And the fantastic thing about where we're at is the majority of the people are doing, some sort of a lighting system, really cool audio video. I mean, 4 screens in the man cave, So I think it's just trying to do the best you can every day.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, Chris, but if I had to answer that question for you, I would say love what you do, because you seem to absolutely love it, man. I mean, really, truly, because, I talk to custom home builders, I talk to home improvement people, I've talked to all of it, and it seems daunting. Their business, their job, what they do every day, it seems to wear them down and wear them out, which it is difficult, yes. But if you represent Chris's animation and Chris's motivation towards growing his business and helping the clients the way he does, and truly love what you do, it's true, that analogy of you love what you do, you won't work a day in your life. So Chris Brown, I just really do appreciate it. If somebody was in the Arizona area and they were looking for more information on a custom build home, or just more information on you in general, how could they get connected with you?
Go to buildcustomaz.com.
Perfect. All that website information is going to be found below in the show notes. If you guys have finished this episode, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Chris, thank you so much for your time. I hope for continuous progression of your business, and we'll see everybody else on the next Kaizen podcast.